Welcome to Labor Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Abrantes, Assistant Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, the Carpenters Union.
And I'm Cyndie Williams, Executive Director of the CCT. Together as your co-hosts, we'll explore the world of organized labor, bringing you behind-the-scenes stories and insights from inspiring union leaders, dedicated partners, and community change makers. In each episode, we dive into authentic conversation to uncover what unions are really about beyond the headlines and the myths.
Whether you're new to the movement or a union ally, our conversation showcasing diverse voices and real-life stories will explore union hurdles, triumphs, labor's rich history, its role in workforce development, all while shedding light on how unions create lasting change and foster economic growth and creating generational wealth.
Join us as we build a broader coalition, elevate future generations, and showcase how unions contribute to creating a positive cultural legacy.
Tune in, get informed, and find out how organized labor is making a difference.
Today we're joined by Wayne Thomas, Senior Vice President at Kiewit Infrastructure Company. With 37 years of experience managing Kiewit's U.S. major transportation projects, Wayne provides executive oversight for more than $7 billion of complex infrastructure replacement and rehabilitation projects across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic regions. His work includes the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, Goethals Bridge replacement, Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority Station Platform Rehabilitation Program, Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, L-Line Tunnel Rehabilitation Project, and currently the Amtrak Frederick Douglass Tunnel Project in Baltimore, as well as the new Key Bridge project in Baltimore, which we'll be talking about today. So thanks so much for joining us, Wayne. We're happy to have you here as a guest.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and quite frankly honored, and I'm just the guy that loves construction and having fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you love construction, you're working for the right company. I mean, we're talking about a large nationwide firm that has a really long, reputable history. And I don't know if you want to just talk a little bit about the company's history for folks that are listening, because Kiewit has a great history and some of the milestones that kind of got them to where they are.
Yeah, sure, I will, and I'll try to keep it short and give you some punchlines because we could talk all day about it. But ironic, you made a comment. So when I was, starting my career in construction, I actually had two other offers I was going to take, and my relatives that are in construction said, "Oh, you a knucklehead? That's Kiewit. What are you doing? That's the big leagues." And that's how I got with Kiewit. It was not the best paying job. It wasn't the closest to my house. Going on 38 years, what a great decision, right? And what a cool business. So anyhow, you asked a little bit about the Kiewit company. So I'll go back in history a little bit. So the Kiewit family comes over. They're Dutch immigrants. They come over to the United States and they move to Omaha, Nebraska. And Pete Kiewit Sr., who starts the Peter Kiewit Construction Company in 1884, and he's a bricklayer. So he's trying to make a living, support his family. He's doing okay, the First Bank of Omaha, some of those kind of jobs. He begins to grow the business and he starts having some sons. In 1900, Pete Kiewit Jr. is born, and both Pete Jr. and Ralph joined the construction business with their father. They survived the Depression and a bunch of tough times and the World War and some other things that happened, but they grow the business. Tragically, Pete Kiewit Sr. dies, and Pete Kiewit Jr. takes over the company at a fairly young age, like in his late 20s. In that time frame, Pete Kiewit Jr. takes the lead, and Ralph takes the second hand. So the company was started as Peter Kiewit Construction, but most people know us for 50 or 60 years as PKS, which is Peter Kiewit's Sons, meaning the sons of Peter Kiewit, right? So they continued to grow the business through the war and start, so Pete Kiewit Jr. was really the visionary of the company, and there's a punchline at the end. So through the war, he realizes, hey, we can be bigger than bricklayers, nothing wrong with bricklayers, but grow our business bigger for the family, and they start doing work for the government. They start building military bases, and, up through the Cold War, even they built the Minuteman missile silos, all the Cold War detention radar systems, and what almost took the company out was in Greenland, the Thule military base is the largest base ever bid, I think, in North America, was on Greenland. Pete Kiewit Jr. wins the contract. And as soon as he wins the contract, within days, they tell him, hey, the contract's 5 times bigger and you get no more time.
Yeah.
It almost bankrupted the company. But one of the philosophies there, Pete Kiewit says, hey, if it takes the company out, we're going to live up to our reputation and commitments. Pete continues to grow the company, and then, of course, Eisenhower and the highway bill, so he grows the company and says, hey, we can also be highway builders. Well, to this day, nobody's built more miles of the interstate system in the U.S. than Kiewit. And he also starts to think about diversity, what happens in the winters. He starts Kiewit Mining Company. We become one of the largest coal miners in North America.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, so throughout, and then into the energy business. So in 1979, unfortunately, Pete Kiewit Jr. dies, and he turns the company over some of the other leaders at Kiewit. And then the companies thrive to where we 32,000 employees, we do 18 to 20 billion a year. Two real things that I really credit the company to Pete Kiewit Jr.'s vision is innovation and growth. And then understanding and trusting people, and that's how we start our partnership with the trades. You don't become a company like that without having skilled craft, and he understood the importance of that, and also people to run the business, and that's when he started the company as an employee-owned company. He wanted his supervisors and managers to have a vested skin in the game take on the company, and he started his ownership program. Today, we're 100% employee-owned. Those two things, his investment on people, craft and staff alike, and his innovation and understanding the people are your most valuable asset.
Yeah, I think having that buy-in, to your point, when you have skin in the game in a corporation, when you're on the worker side, you are more likely to do what's in the interest of the company to make them profitable, because it's sustaining your job and your career for yourself and other tradespeople.
And it's part of your
It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference.
It is a family business, right?
And
Absolutely.
you're connected to your workforce, Absolutely.
Right.
Wow.
So pretty exciting, but pretty cool company, and really attributed to our innovative leader.
Wow. It's been a nice lesson hearing all the things that Kiewit's involved in. I didn't realize they were involved in coal and long-term projects, throughout the nation. I also didn't realize that you've been with Kiewit all along throughout your career, so that's pretty incredible.
Straight out of school, out of Drexel University in 1988.
Says a lot. So obviously we're here today to talk about Kiewit's involvement in the devastating collapse of the Key Bridge. And, I remember, it's one of those things, if you're in construction, you remember where you were when you heard the Key Bridge collapsed. I was in a hotel room. I remember it happening at like 3 a.m. in the evening, and it made news, and I was up all night because I could hear it on the news, right? And really devastating loss, and really rethinking how we safeguard America's infrastructure just based on that collapse. How did Kiewit get involved in this build and just try to edge out others in trying to reconnect new infrastructure for the city of Baltimore?
Yeah, so maybe a couple things. I would start by reminding everybody that it was devastating. I was actually in Columbia, Maryland at the time, and got a phone call. I happened to was sleeping as well. And somebody said, "Hey, do you see what's going on there?" So I was right in the area. 6 people lost their lives, which is the most devastating. Right? Not only is it devastating to the economy and to lose that infrastructure, but 6 people, what a terrible travesty. So we should never forget that. But Kiewit's been working in that region for 6 decades. We built the Fort McHenry Tunnel. We built the 17-mile Chesapeake Bay Bridge crossing, right? So we have been in that area and have strong ties with both our labor partners as well as the client, because we're there. We're a local Baltimore contractor as well. We also happen to own Weeks Marine, which is our heavy lift. And so, of course, instantly, we're one of the firms called in to help with the cleanup and the salvage, which was geared towards opening the Nav channel, right? So we get involved day one as part of the cleanup. But then Kiewit also, as we have 3,500 designers. So when the state realized that progressive design build is the right model, which we supported, there was some industry outreach, and we tried to advocate for that. Hey, if you want to move things along quickly, it's got to be one of these progressive models, which we do, and we can support it. We're both a designer and a builder, and have the marine resources to take on such a thing. So we turned in our proposal, with the other 3 firms. There were 4 teams that submitted, and fortunately we were selected and have been partnering for going on 18 months now with the state of Maryland, MDTA, and MDOT to try to move this along in the primarily the design phase, which we are the designer of record on the job as well.
Now, this job is going to be quite cumbersome. There's going to be a number of trades involved. How do you think that's going to translate into some economic and workforce development opportunity for that region in terms of jobs?
Yeah, so I think, it's a massive infrastructure undertaking, right? It's years of work, it's billions of dollars, which to me translates to hundreds of jobs. Right? And ideally local jobs, skilled craftsmen, craftspersons from all different trades. I mean, it's a bridge. So certainly, the carpenters, the divers, the dock builders, the operating engineers, the laborers, the iron workers are forefront. It's that kind of work, but it'll also open up all kinds of other jobs for our partners at the cement finishers, the bricklayers, painters, electricians, all the trades to play a part, because it's a bridge. There's a lot of pile driving. There's a marine aspect, but there's also IT and lighting. So it's a massive undertaking that'll employ lots of people.
Great. What are some of the things that Kiewit is doing to bridge the gap and connect to community to allow them to understand some of the training opportunities, some of the union apprenticeship placements that will take place on this career build?
So good question, and it's something we embrace right now. We'll maybe even take a step back. Like generally, with the industry and what's going on, our industry is booming, and my son's an 8-year carpenter. He went through his apprenticeship. He's actually a diver dock builder. He was the only person in his apprenticeship, one person for that New England area. So it just shows me that our workforce with the demographics is changing. We need to do a better job of advocates of our industry to have young folks come into this industry. It's a cool industry. It's exciting. There's lots of opportunity, and it can be rewarding. How do we better do that? So that's really kind of where I would start. But so we are partnering with the Baltimore City, the counties, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County, MDOT, Governor's Office, having a bunch of outreach events down in the area at the local schools, at the local centers and community centers, trying to talk about Key Bridge. What is Key Bridge? What is the time frame? But talk about opportunities and promote folks, whether it's trying to come on with us, maybe as a staff position, but probably equally, if not more important, is we do that in partnership with our local trades. They're there with us, trying to encourage folks that, hey, you can have a really cool career in construction. Here at the table with us is our trade partners, the apprenticeship programs, and this job is going to take, I would guess, 800 skilled tradespersons to build this job. 800. 800, right? That's not sitting right there on the bench. So if we don't do something as an industry to create these opportunities, well, the opportunities are there, but try to work hard to fill them. And we also work with like HERS Resiliency, and there's a couple other centers down there that are pre-apprenticeship programs. So we support them and go to outreach events like them to try to even get in the next layer down. How do we get into the high schools or out of the cities or the communities, folks that maybe not even sure what an opportunity in construction is, and have them go through a pre-apprenticeship program, figure out are they made for construction, and then more importantly, which kind of trade should they go, and then we help endorse and support them to get into the various trade unions into the apprenticeship program, with the ultimate goal is then we would take them on as apprenticeships. But we're not so selfish to think it's just us, right? It's better for the industry. If we support somebody and end up going to work for one of our competitors in the area, they have filled a role that's needed. So maybe if they're not on a Kiewit job, that might open up another opportunity for someone else to come to us. So as an industry and as a region, we need to partner and work very hard to make this successful.
Well, we're creating the exposure to folks that may not necessarily know about the industry, and we're actually controlling the ecosystem. Like we have the job, which is a historic project to be part of. We have the contractor who wants to do the right thing by the community. We have government and policy decision makers that want to hopefully benefit that community, and we have the trades folks that are going to kind of force that training. And one of the things that you guys have done is committed to using union labor on this particular project. Why does that matter? Why union labor?
And even a follow-up to our previous discussion, I mean, it's, this outreach to try to create the workforce development has been Instagram, Facebook. It's been an outreach, but we actually partnered with the carpenters down there, and we made flyers and literally 20,000 door hangers, and we went door to door through the communities and put them on people's doors so that you can't miss it. Here's an opportunity, and here's how you go and fulfill that opportunity. So we really took a big attack across the whole board, the social media, the outreach events, and call it boots on the ground, door to door.
Yeah, we hosted you at our Baltimore offices to come and give presentations to community leaders, community groups, government offices. Your ground game has been really impressive.
Well, we're committed to it. I mean, it's the only way to make Key Bridge and the whole industry has to be successful. We better grow our workforce, or we're going to be in trouble a decade from now.
Right. Yeah. Going back to Anthony's question of union jobs, why does that matter for the city of Baltimore?
So I mean, I think with the governor's commitment and our commitment, we did a PLA on the job as Kiewit voluntary. We weren't directed to do it. We work in that area, union signatory. We think it's the right way to do business. We think it's a way to support our trade partners, but also get skilled craftspersons. And that region could be a little bit on the border of its own, but Kiewit supports that, and we're dedicated and committed to that, obviously, by doing the PLA. And we took charge of negotiating the PLA with our partners, and we think it's fair. I mean, to me, it comes down to, I want to have a skilled person, and I think they deserve a fair day's pay and benefits for a fair day's work. And that's really what it's all about. And we can all just come to grips. It's not us against them.
Right.
We are together. We need to win together. And if someone wants to come out, work hard, do their best, I think they should be paid for that fair and maybe even a little better than fair.
And I think you guys are a great example of, a company that could be extremely profitable, expand their footprint, but also create middle-class jobs at the same time. We always talk about this as you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. You could do both if you have a good, skilled, productive tradesperson and you pay them a decent wage, and you can be profitable.
Everything goes hand in hand, just like safety, productivity, quality, all those things. If you let your safety slip, the other two slip. If you let your quality slip, and certainly, if your production slips, it's more attention. Everything has to work hand in hand. Yep. It has to be a partnership. All those things are in unison.
And when we think about, a lot of people call them jobs, but at the end of the day, this is a career in the trades for many people, right? It's a 30-year career. And you're not necessarily just changing their life. Like, you're changing their family's life, the community they came from. You're changing the dynamics across the board in a blue-collar job that pays well.
Yeah, I think that's great. My namesake, my grandfather's a union person. My son, my family comes from a union background, and they're able to support our family. Yep. We typically would know they're working union for a union contractor. You should come home safe, right? Yep. And be able to feed your family and put a house over us. And I think that's a great thing, right? And more, we all have to win-win. It's all about creating win-win solutions together.
Yeah. How has community and elected officials responded to your efforts?
Actually quite well. So a lot of some of the delegates in Maryland, I meet with them and they help us and come out and support our events, trying to talk it up in the community. The fellows from MDOT, MDTA, their community outreach folks are certainly lockstep with us, helping us advertise and support our outreaches. Or maybe 1 week it's a Kiewit sponsored outreach, and the week or two later it's a state sponsored or a delegate sponsored. And then because of the different delegates, we can do one like with Scott, Delegate Phillips and his region and the other folks. So we can not only have maybe a broad brush, the social media, then we can go down a level and get with the local, state, and delegates and reps and do something specific in their community, and they can help us get to the right people, right? And it takes a village. Yep. It takes a village to be successful, and if everybody's participating and everybody has the same goal, we're going to win this thing.
When we, 10 years from now, when people look back on this particular project, do you think we can use this as a model of how you actually create good economic opportunity even under some unfortunate circumstances?
I think it's a great model. I think not only the progressive design build model the state has selected, but the way we can partner, and it is partnering to go out there and develop a workforce and be able to successfully but quickly and efficiently rebuild this structure. It's going to show that when we're successful, this is a great model. We should do this more. Locally, regionally, nationally, right? If this wins, this formula wins.
Yeah. Out of such great tragedy comes absolute opportunity for the city of Baltimore. 800 union jobs as well.
Well, we're getting. We don't have it fully vetted yet.
Yeah.
How long is the project going to take?
Well, we're still working with the state, and then there's other jobs in the area, the Amtrak BNP tunnel and other stuff. Those jobs are a decade. That program is going to go on for 10 to 12 years. So it could be that a person comes on and gets in this workforce development program and could work at any one of a number of jobs, right? To me, I'm just going to elaborate here on my opinion. It's not about, hey, I call the hall and I get somebody. Yep. I want folks that are long-term Kiewit union tradesmen partners that work for Kiewit. They go job to job with me. It's a career, and maybe even travel over state lines and go places with me. And how do we have this workforce that likes working for Kiewit? We like them, and it's more than, hey, I'm the local guy, right? I'm not looking to call the hall and I need someone and I send them back when I'm done. How do I keep them with me? How do I get the next opportunity and continue their growth and support us being successful?
Yeah, and you want to build out a productive team that understands your culture and wants to see your company be successful and eventually maybe become stakeholders, just like some of these other long-term employees, right? So that you guys can expand your portfolio and make sure that you're profitable going across the country and across state lines. And I think that's extremely important about partnerships.
Yeah, how cool is it to be able to think about the next job and be able to say, I'm going to take this crew and these crew members and this people, and they're not even necessarily the same trade, but it's a crew, and they want to do that, and we want to have them, and they're not worried about where their next job is because they know it's a career with construction, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yep.
Well, I've heard across the board your company is amazing to work for, and your employees are very happy. So whatever the recipe is that you're doing, keep it up. We really appreciate you being an industry partner, and really just excited to learn more about how this project is going to come to shape. So if you would give any advice to somebody in the city of Baltimore looking to get a start or understand more about how they can be connected to this particular project? Any thought as to where they might go to learn more?
Yeah, any one of a number of ways to do that. So if you're in the Baltimore area, you cannot hear about the Key Bridge every day, almost every hour, right? So you certainly can go online and look at, hey, the Rebuild Key Bridge stuff. You can reach out to us at Kiewit. If you just Google Kiewit or Kiewit Key Bridge, you can get to us. Okay. We're there. We're on site. If you want to stop by on site and talk to us about maybe an opportunity, but I'd also encourage them visit, depending on what they want to do or what their involvement is. It's pretty accessible to various local union apprenticeship programs in the halls. Go visit. Go to one of the outreach. Certainly keep an eye on our outreach events. We do about 2 a month, every single month, right? So anybody can show up. They're all free to attend, walk in, meet us, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Very good.
Well, thank you for taking the time. It's been a pleasure listening to what this project looks like and how it's going to be economically impactful. And we're happy to be part of it. And we appreciate the leadership you're taking on, not only on the Kiewit side, but what you've done for us and our workforce development initiatives down in that region. So thank you.
Yes, I appreciate it. And like I say, I'm thrilled and honored to be here, and the pleasure's all mine. And we greatly appreciate the partnership.
Thank you, Wayne.
Same here. Thank you.